There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica. Good afternoon, I am Messi Bopo. This is the news brief. The General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG, has asked not to be joined to the issues of politics, as this is not his calling. The GO, who was speaking at the April Thanksgiving service of the church, unquote, said, "Politics is not my calling, do not distract me," end of quote. He mentioned that he was not in any race and has never voted because politicians who are members of the church are all his children. Therefore, he would not vote for any. He, however, advised all RCCG members to get their voter's card, cast their ballot for the right choices, stay at the polling unit for the counting, and get result for those they voted for. He said God has not spoken to him about the 2023 elections, so personally, he's not sure about the conduct of the elections yet.
As of now, as I'm standing before you, I still don't know whether or not there'll be an election next year. Don't say that Pastor Adeboye said there'll be no election next year. That's not what I said. What was it I said? Adeboye does not know yet. Oh. Put the word yet. How come you don't know? Because my father hasn't talked to me about it at all. The last time we had an election, he spoke to me about the election by June of the previous year. And this is April. So it's not late. But he hasn't told me yet. He might have told you some of you are prophets. You are closer to him. But is there any one of you here who can raise your hand to heaven and say, without any doubt, there will be an election in 2023? If you can tell us, stand up and we will clap for a prophet. I don't know yet. Remember to put the word.
He spoke worriedly about the Kaduna train attack and asked, quote, who is trying to isolate Kaduna, why Kaduna? He said, according to the government, more than 80% of Nigeria's crude oil has been stolen.
It's in the news. More than 80% of the oil we are producing is being stolen. You didn't read that in the news? More than 80% of all the oil we are producing is being stolen. And nobody had denied it. It came from the government. That leads me to several questions. Number one, who is the one stealing the oil? Number two, where is the money going to? 80% of what should have been the income of a nation is going to the hand of some people. That's a lot of money, man. What do they want to do with the money? That's question number 3. Question number 4. Who are the foreign nations buying this stolen oil? Question number 5. How many of these nations of the world are your friends? So you can see the reason why I'm not thinking of 2023. Maybe that's why God has not spoken to me about that, because there is a lot to deal with now.
Fire has raised a popular plank market at Odoeron in Ogba area of Lagos. Authorities are not sure of the cause of the fire incident, which started around 3 a.m. The Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service has now extinguished the fire, but interestingly, reconstruction work has started at the site. We're now being joined by PlusTvAfrica news reporter Jacinta Obioko. Hello, Jacinta. It's good to have you join us this afternoon on the news.
Hi, good afternoon.
So, Jacinta, can you please bring us to speed with the developments from the scene of the fire?
Okay, so I believe you're asking questions here. I think that we got here this morning that has been picked up by the Lagos State for some right that
We apologize for being unable to bring you a live report of what's happening right there at the plank market. As soon as we're able to have that connection, we'll bring you up to speed with the development. A story building under construction in Taraba State has collapsed, killing 2 workers and leaving 3 others injured. Consequently, the state government has declared the owner wanted. The Commissioner for Urban Development, who visited the scene, said the collapsed structure was illegally erected. Eyewitness and some residents of the state have called on the state government to take due action to deter others.
Rapidly acted by sending our men to the sites, ensuring that evacuation has been done. And so far, our machine was here much earlier, and victims were evacuated. 2 were confirmed dead, and 3 were critically injured and were actually taken to the hospital, are currently receiving treatment. Meanwhile, the ministry, under my leadership, had ordered for the immediate arrest of the owner of the building, simply because the ministry is not actually aware. We had made effort to stop the building, haven't noticed that the owner has been at the site without our approval. We've not granted any approval to him. So as far as the ministry is concerned, this is an illegal structure.
We have assessed the level of damage and particularly the quality of the product that was used here for the construction. And from the physical examination, we have seen what we are supposed to have taken note of. But the way we work, we still need to subject, especially the iron rod, to further test. And comparing also the size used here, whether it was good enough to be used for such product.
Ever since this thing started, there are 2 casualties that are dead, and we have saved like 3 lives here. Some are in the hospital, and some are here already here. They are dead. Seriously, the people that are helping have helped a lot. But none of the government workers have come here to check whether there is life, death here, or there is anything that is happening here. But we thank God that life has been saved here.
13 persons have been killed by armed bandits in attack on different communities in Anka local government area of Zamfara state. The affected communities are Kadamdabar, Rafingiro, and Babonbaye, all in Anka local government area of the state. Police spokesman in the state, Mohammed Shehu, confirmed the separate attacks on the village. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Akali, on Saturday patrolled the Abuja-Kaduna highway and deployed more troops to the area to boost security. This followed Monday's train attack by terrorists, which killed 8 passengers, injured 26, and led to abductions. Speaking during an assessment tour of the security situation on the Abuja-Kaduna highway, the IGP said adequate arrangement has been made to secure the roads.
My coming out, one is to check the deployment we made to ensure that the road is safe. Secondly, to also go and check the deployment we had made at the scene of the train accident where repairs is taking place. This issue of Kaduna cannot be accessed either by road, by air, or by train. It's not true. The road is safe for motorists to follow, and we'll try our best to keep the road safe.
We're being joined by our reporter Jacinta Obioko, who is at the Aron in Ogba area looking at the fire incident. Jacinta, it's good to have you join us back.
Hi, Mercy. I can hear you.
Can you please bring us up to speed with what's the development where you are as regards the fire incident?
Okay, so when we got here this morning, we could tell that the fire has been put up by the Lagos State Fire Service. Although we saw some smoke at the affected area, and at some point the chairman here took us around to see what happened, and surprisingly we could tell reconstruction is ongoing, and he confirmed it. He said, as we can see, they're trying to reconstruct the whole affected area, and obviously I'm not sure it's authorized. I'm not sure it's the right thing to do. I'm not sure they've been given the authority to go ahead and do the reconstruction, because nobody's even telling us what caused or triggered the fire. We tried speaking to him. He refused to say anything, refused to tell us his name. Nobody here is speaking to us, and at some point he asked us to leave. We actually, right now, we're actually at the gate, one of the entrance to the place. We are locked outside. Even members, some people that have shop in here are not even allowed to come. If they're even not going to be allowed at all, they have to put a call across, and someone has to approve before anybody comes in. So we are outside the gate. The gate is locked. No entrance. They are not allowing us to do anything. Nobody's speaking to us. And that's it for now.
All right, Jacinta, have the authorities been able to identify or establish the cause of this fire?
I didn't get that.
Have the authorities been able to establish or identify the cause of the fire?
No, nobody is saying anything. We've tried asking the chairman that even managed to take us around in the first place. He didn't say anything. He was just saying construction is ongoing, or rather the reconstruction is ongoing, that, as you can see. And that's the only thing he could tell us. Nobody is saying what caused the fire. Nobody is telling us if it's even the right thing to start reconstructing and all of that. All the man could tell us is to leave the premises. Actually at the gate and it's locked.
Can you also tell us, do you have an idea when the fire started and if there are casualties?
With the look of things, with what has been in the news, it was said that it started early this morning, around 3. And that's been no official statement. No official person is here to tell us it is actually when it started. But when we got here, the fire is already put off. According to the people here, they're saying the fire is, everything is normal. There's no fire anymore. We just saw the smoke, and that's just nobody is saying when the fire started or what caused the fire.
All right, thank you so much, Jacinta, for that update. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Moving away from the fire incident, the Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, has confirmed the safety of about 170 passengers that were on board the attack train on March the 28th. In a statement, the NRC's Managing Director, Fidet Okahira, said the corporation was, however, collaborating with relevant authorities to ensure the safety of other passengers. Meanwhile, repairs are expected to commence on the damaged train tracks, according to Okihira. The federal government's revised COVID-19 travel protocols for travelers arriving in Nigeria has been rescheduled to take effect from Monday. This was disclosed by the chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa. The new protocol stipulates that inbound passengers to Nigeria who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 no longer required to carry out the PCR test before boarding the Nigerian-bound flight. Also, fully vaccinated passengers arriving in Nigeria would not be required to carry out the post-arrival PCR test or the rapid antigen test upon arriving Nigeria. However, inbound passengers who are unvaccinated or partially vaccinated for COVID-19 would still be required to take a COVID-19 PCR test 48 hours before departure and undergo a post-arrival PCR test at their own cost. There are just a few thousand drills monkey left in the wild, but the drill ranch in the southern part of Nigeria is providing the home safe from threats of habitat loss and hunting.
In the forests of southern Nigeria, Sugar Ray is enjoying his old age. He's 20, an elder statesman in drill monkey terms, but his life was nearly cut prematurely short. Clinging to his mother's chest as a baby, he lost her and his left hind leg to a hunter's machete. Maimed and orphaned, he would have likely died had he not been rescued by the drill ranch. It's a haven for the species, only found in Nigeria, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea. Nsikang Enineket is assistant manager there.
Their population, it's not even up to 1,000 back there in the wild. So due to series of human activities such as logging, illegal logging, hunting, and illegal farming, and all these factors affect them and then reduce their population, making them to be endangered.
Founded 3 decades ago, the sanctuary now cares for 600 drills across 2 locations in southern Nigeria. They are protected by people like Peter Adie. Armed with a torch and a machete, he patrols the forest at night, untying tree traps set by farmers.
I used to hunt, but when I discovered the importance, I stopped hunting. I chose it just to preserve trees, animals, and any other important thing for the young generation, the oncoming one.
Many in the area have left hunting for agriculture, but there are still risks for drill monkeys. Most farmers have a zero-tolerance policy towards wild animals eating their crops.
I have a vast land.
Solomon Abang is a farmer and driver in the area.
I saw that farmer now. If they say that is what I normally used to do, if the one that they have gone, sometimes if they say they went to their farm, they made monkey dead and used to kill it there. But for me now, I don't have a gun to do. That is how monkey normally used to eat my banana.
The drill ranch's long-term aim is to release monkeys back into the wild population, boosting numbers and genetic diversity. But that's hard to achieve in an ever-shrinking habitat where contact with humans can be lethal.
Fear grips Nigerians as insecurity heightens across the country, and that's on our Street View. Take a listen.
We're concerned. We've seen constant attacks here and there from Abuja, Kaduna, and even Bauchi, Maiduguri, and it's extending even beyond the northern part of Nigeria. So yes, we are concerned. We're worried. We also feel that perhaps some of these issues should have been sorted, but I mean, the reverse is the case as what we have today.
I'm very, very disappointed. I was hoping that by this present time that our state of security will be improved, but it's getting worse. So really, I am disappointed.
If you look at the whole thing, you will understand that the security in this nation is giving us a kind of a bad name in this nation. For a long time now, for more than 4 years, every day when I wake up in the morning, when I look, especially if I'm going to work, I look at the things that happens on the go slow. You could see that a lot of people are being even robbed, and people are dying every day. I do not know what government is thinking about it, but to me, the insecurity is too heightened that no one is safe wherever you are.
I'm tired because we just hear about bad news every day, and you're not even safe from. You can't even enter Uber, BLT, anything. Like if you're even going out, you have to tell people where you're going to because the insecurity is just crazy right now.
The security situation in Nigeria is not pleasing at all. We need to improve on the security system in Nigeria. It is disheartening to see what is happening presently in the country. So we need an improvement.
So barbaric is nothing to write home about. We are insecurity in this country is something else. Because we need a good leader, somebody that can flush all those bandits or terrorists, just to flush them out, because the rate the people are dying is too much.
And to other parts of Africa, Sudan's military leader, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has threatened to expel the United Nations Special Representative, accusing him of overstepping his mandate. In a statement, Burhan said his slander and lie at the military graduation on Friday have been heard. The comments come days after the UN representative, Volker Perthes, gave an update on Security Council on the efforts in Sudan. Burkina Faso leader says security situation would dictate transition timeline. Burkina Faso's interim president, Paul-Henri Damabi, insists that 36-month transition timeline to democracy can be revised if security situation improves. The country is facing the insurgency by groups linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State, which have killed thousands and displaced more than 1.7 million people. And outside Africa, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has revealed that Russian forces are aiming to seize the east and the south of the country. In a late-night video address, Zelensky said Russia had resources to put pressure on the east of Ukraine. He has regularly complained that the Western nation had not provided Kyiv with enough anti-missile system to combat Russia's aerial threat. Zelensky said Ukrainian forces would do everything to repel the Russian military. He also singled out for the praise the forces of defending the besieged port of Mariupol, saying that resistance was allowing other cities to gain valuable time. And to some business news, disruptive technology is an innovative tool for advancement. It enables humans of all races, ages, creeds, or religion to do things differently and in a superior way. This was the submission of Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu while speaking with newsmen shortly after the unveiling of a news platform that is new in Lagos. PlusTvAfrica correspondent Lovie Kuko-Yedokun was there and now reports.
Technology for centuries has excited human imaginations. It has also prompted fears about its effects. It has continued to provoke a broad spectrum of hopes and fears. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, represented by his executive assistant on public relations, Olusegun Fafore, at the event says disruptive technology is the way to go. He disclosed that efforts of his government at maximizing the full benefits inherent in the new trend are visible in his massive investment in technology across the state.
It's a major focus area, right? And the state, the governor is committed to that. You see fiber optics being laid across the state for internet to be connected to hospitals and schools, because the pathway to technology, to activation of the full benefit of technology is when you have access to the internet. It connects you to the other parts of the world. You'll be able to interact and draw ideas from the different parts of the globe. So Mr. Governor is committed to technological advancement, is somebody who is passionate about innovation and is making huge investments in that area. And you will know, across, you go to Yaba, you have some hubs, all these innovation hubs, where you find people learning coding and doing all sorts of things in the area of technology. The initiative of Mr. Governor, and he's doing everything best possible to drive all that.
Themed technology as enabler for living and winning in a disruptive world, public relations practitioners stress the need to go beyond the creative industries and get into massive communications that are disruptive and memorable.
All that kind of technology is disruptive, but it's the future. So Chain Reactions wants to be part of driving that. And it's also the future of the economy as technology. I mean, look at all these younger entrepreneurs that are coming up. In the end, technology is making it more accessible for entrepreneurs to grow, and that's good for the economy.
Everything you see in a society, whether it is people disobeying a traffic law or it is people buying a particular product, it is all a product of culture or an emerging trend. Sports enthusiasts, rushed onto the field at the MKO Abiola Stadium in Abuja and started destroying their own property. So it simply means someone in government needs help.
Panelists at the forum were unanimous in their presentations, agreeing that disruptive technology is the future of any economy. From Lagos, Love Ikuku Oyedoku, Plus TV News.
And to some entertainment news, Nigerian legendary juju musician turned gospel singer Ebenezer Obey has clocked 80. According to him, his greatest dream was to impact more lives, especially Nigerian youths. In a congratulatory message, President Muhammadu Buhari said Obey has used his art and skills to fly Nigeria's flag around the world. Governor Sanwo-Olu also joined in congratulating the legend, whom he described, Chief Commander Ebenezer Obey Fabiye, as an apostle of God who's using music as a means of evangelism. Ebenezer Obey began his musical career in the mid-1950s after moving to Lagos and after the tutelage on the Fatai Rolling Dollars Band. He formed a band called the International Brothers in 1964, playing high life juju fusion. And to some sports news now. Poland's Iga kept her remarkable run intact with a 6-4-6 win over Japan's Naomi Osaka in the Miami Open final on Saturday. The Polish second seed, who will take over the world #1 ranking next week, did not drop a set in Miami and has now won 17 consecutive matches dating back to a championship run at the Qatar Open in February. With the victory, the 20-year-old became the only fourth woman to win the Indian Wells and Miami tournament back-to-back, a feat known as the Sunshine Double, given the tournament respectively in the location in California and Florida. The two players wasted no time getting into the heat of the battle as the match began with a wild 7 opening game, during which 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka saved 2 breaks points and fired down 4 aces to hold serve. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Messi Boko.
birthday to you. On this occasion of yours, happy birthday to you. Many happy returns. Happy birthday to you.
Right, my name is Teresa Precious. I am an event planner, a cake specialist. I'm also a natural juice specialist as well. I deal with fruits and I try to make people live healthy lives. And business is just pretty starting up, like coming back, resuscitating after a very long break of like 5 years. And that happened because I got trafficked, and the connection came through my friend. So how it all started, so after school, I started baking even before I left secondary school. And so when admission was taking so long, and I was really eager to go back to school and all, so I started doing events, started serving at parties, following vendors to events, and I started liking the job because I'm kind of like talented in the arts. So everything event looked like fun and work for me. So I decided to build a career in that, irrespective of going back to school. And then I started training up. I naturally just have recipes in my head for cakes, and maybe when I wake up, I'll go right out to what I saw either in my dream or what I thought about, and when I try it out, it always comes out nice. So my mom encouraged me to build up that career too, and that it was going to be a fruitful one. So at that point, there's this friend of mine that we kind of like, she's a bit older than I am, but we kind of like grew up together. She was always there for me because I had a child immediately after school. She was always there for me, always helping me out. So she said, since school wasn't working, then we should just venture into business. And looking at it that I was the first of 5 kids and I already had a child, school might be a little bit tight at that moment because my parents were really well to do, my mom actually, and because my parents are separated. So we used to make ice blocks and ice cubes together. We make ice blocks, we make ice. She was the one working there. So, but after her normal daily job, we now go in the evenings. So we had to take permission from her boss first. So we go in the evenings, we make ice blocks and ice cubes. We take to bars, restaurants, clubs, and most weekends when we get jobs as well, we get to supply ice blocks for events. So it started making me meet people. I started coming out more often. And people say they're liking my kind of person, like you're very intelligent. So sometimes my friend will just say, come, let's go to so place. She might not say anything, but we are certain that we're not living there without a new job to do almost every weekend. So it made me start becoming very outgoing, and I did meet lots of people. So I knew that I was only going to do that for a short while. And then on one of the occasions, we had a very long discussion, and she was like, she's just going to be here for the meantime. She was really building that up for me to like find a basis for me to start my event management career. And I took it that she was doing me a really good favor. So not too long from then, she introduced me to a friend who brought a job, and they wanted me to plan a particular event. It was going to be an opening, which I did, and it was fine, it came out well, it was quite big. So for me, it was like a major, big job for me, and I was happy at the pace at which I was, pulling up the shots, and they were really looking perfect. So one of the guys who attended the event, a friend to the convener of the event, to the owner of the event, was like, "Whoa, I like your industrious, I like your person, you're smart, you're outspoken, and you know how to do almost everything and do it well. Like, how do you do it?" And I was like, "Well, it's just me, that's just where I am." And he got really interested, and we exchanged contacts, we were talking, and sometimes he just calls me, "Hey babe, what's up? What's your plan for the weekend? Any event?" And I'll be like, "Yes." And he's like, "Okay, drop location." He'll just come around, just come and check up, like to see what's up, and always commenting, always checking up on me. So for me, I felt it was like a good thing to just have someone who you've not known from Adam, become close, check up on you, and they're after your progress. And after like about 6 to 8 months of that constant checkup, he then just dropped the suggestion one day, like, he doesn't know how I'm going to see this, but there's a traveling opportunity, and he feels this should be the intern for me, since I already have plans to further education. Already I had started NCE, I was in my 200 level. I started NCE, but it was a bit tight. So most times when it's like that, he's always like one of the people I call, like, "What's up? I'm having challenges with fees," or my friend and a couple of other friends will be like, every time you have to call me either for fees or for feeding or one thing or the other. I feel this is an opportunity for you. If you can take it up, you should go to Malaysia. You're going to be working in the hair factory, because at that point, apart from making cakes and planning events, I just got talented with playing around weave-ons, and then I just started making wigs even without even knowing that wig was going to become something that's going to be in vogue. So when they saw it and they're like, "This is really beautiful, like, how did you come about this?" I don't know, I just see things and I do them. So he said that this is really good. So if you're going to a company where you're going to be working with attachment, weave-ons, and then you could get another job where you can work in a restaurant, maybe as a pastry chef or as an assistant baker, where you can shuffle in between both duties, make cool cash, and say in about 6 months you must have saved up enough. And then I was like, I don't have money. I know traveling out now, most especially going to Malaysia now, should cost so much. And it was like, no, that even if I don't have cash, I shouldn't worry about it. I'm like, how are you going to do that? And he was like, I should just leave all of that for him, that all he needs from me is my consent that I'll be willing to go. I said, but not without you telling me how you're going to go about it. And then he did explain that there are agents who are into traveling, and they help people travel either to go to school or to work. But then if you do not have money, there are people who are like investors, and what they do is to invest their money on you to travel. And then when you get to your post country, you start working, maybe like your first 3, 4, 5 months working, your salary will be used to pay them back whatever they have spent on you, but though it will be maybe either multiplied or there'll be an addition. And then he was like, I think if you are that hardworking, this shouldn't be a problem for you. So I sat down and thought about it, like, okay, so how much are we looking at here? And then he did a plus or minus $3,500 then, and then if I was going to pay back, I was going to be paying back like $700, $7,000. And I was like, okay, how much are we talking about in Naira? He did the conversion, and then he did made me understand that I shouldn't even look at that money, that I'm going to be getting dinars, and that dinars is way higher than Naira. So, and he was like, don't worry, this is like the best opportunity for you. I know you're strong, I know you're hardworking, and you're very fun to be with. People love to be around you, so definitely you're going to make good friends who would even give you stipends, and you probably might not just have to pay back with all your hard-earned money. So the idea was to go work and come back to set up better or to finish up school so I can get a job. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And then he said he was going to, if I was ready, then he will now tell me the remaining processes. But then I have to look for like 4 extra people to make us 5. I was like, okay. And so these, my other friends, they also know this, my particular friend, Mary, that introduced me to the agent. So somehow, you know, there's no how now, friends, girls would definitely meet. And I really don't remember how my other friends got to know, but they also got to know about the traveling because he also became friends with them. But because anybody can meet anybody anywhere, I didn't really try to know exactly how they also met this same person. But then the other thing I remember was that we were all talking about this whole traveling thing, and my other friends were like, they were already 2 sisters and 2 of their friends, so with 5 of us. And then we started talking about it. So they were like, we're going to get at least 50K first. The 50K was supposed to be for like our passport and some other little things that we would need right here before moving. But the traveling expenses was going to be covered by the investor, the invisible investor. So I for like a month we were on it, trying to get cash, running around, and several times they did say we're going to meet one person tomorrow. They could just call up today and say, okay, we're meeting the main travel agents tomorrow, we're meeting this tomorrow, and then we go. So they asked us to bring passports, pictures, so we should come for medical tests and all that. So on the day we went to Ikorodu to meet this other set of guys. That was the day we met a magician. So he is also part of the crew. Then the magician happens to be the transporter. So he did mention that when it comes to things like this, that he normally advises young ladies not to tell anyone. And that the reason why he would tell them not to tell anyone is because they will definitely discourage you the moment you tell them someone is paying for your traveling. That families don't believe that somebody anywhere can just decide to pay for you to travel, go work and come back. So at some point he actually did some magic. So he said he was going to show us what he does for a living in Malaysia, and that he had just come back, but he has decided to rest. He wants to stay back in Nigeria to take care of his family, and that this is what he does for a living in Malaysia and some other countries where he goes to. And then he brought out stuff, sand, salt, handkerchief. Then he did turn the sand into, he did turn salt into sand, and then turned the salt again into a bird. So seeing that, we, you know, it just blew us out kind of. And he also said that if we wanted to really go and we were certain that we were not going to tell anyone, we needed to like swear an oath and all of that. So they were going to make some concussion with new notes. So all of this is just to be secure that we're not going to be telling anybody. And at that point I was really not very down with everything, but one thing just kept sticking in my mind, which is, as far as I'm going to make myself better, as far as I'm not going to be leaning or calling or, you know, having to trouble family and all of that. And it was an opportunity for me to at least like do something tangible for myself. So I didn't really see anything, though I had doubts. I had very big doubts. So after that, they said they were going to let us know when we'll be leaving and how we will be leaving. We don't need to take anything, maybe just a bag or just maybe like a pair or 2 pairs of clothes, that when we get somewhere, we'll be going for shopping, we'll get clothes, and we'll get every necessary thing that we needed. So initially, when he started mentioning that you don't have to tell anyone, so for me, I found it very difficult that, okay, I'll be leaving my child for my mom and I won't be able to describe to my mom where exactly I'm going to or what I'm going there to do. And why would someone say, it's supposed to be a good news. So why would someone else say, don't tell your family, because they probably will not like the sound of it, or they will discourage you. For me, I feel that should be a good news and you should share. So, but he made us to believe that when you do that, they will discourage you and you might end up missing an opportunity of a lifetime. And another thing that got me thinking was the fact that he did mention that a lot of girls do go and they come back, they get to do big things for themselves. He also mentioned that apart from working in salons, restaurants, that some people go there to hustle. So when I heard the word hustle, I actually did ask, like, what's the meaning of hustle? And it was like, regular hustle though. I'm like, no, the way that word sounds to me, the way you're saying it, looks like there's a different meaning to hustle. And then he now expatiated and said, some girls do go there just to go and work in brothels and come back. I'm like, okay. So hearing that started making me think, like, okay, does it mean that there is something he's not saying? So then I now asked clearly, what exactly are you taking me to this country to go and do? He now asked, what did you tell your friend you want to do? I said, no, I didn't tell him. He suggested that since I am good in these areas, so I can work in a restaurant and then also work in a hair factory. And he was like, so that is what you are going to do? So I said, okay, and waited for the day they were going to call. So on the day he called, that's the initial guy that told me about the traveling opportunity. He called and said, okay, so get ready by next week. We are moving by next week Sunday. It was supposed to be a Sunday. I said, okay, no problem. And then on getting to Ikorodu, I found out that my other friends weren't there. So I asked, what's up, what happened with the other friends? And it was like, they couldn't come up with even money for their passports, which was 50K. I was like, oh, because I saw one of them that morning and I was like asking her, babe, how far? She was like, that she's not sure that she's going. That's the one that has a sister. And that again, that their mom told them that it's not a good journey, that they shouldn't go. And that if she would advise me that I shouldn't go, for their mom to say it's not a good journey, I was like, why at the dying minute? So to me at that point, I just thought that, okay, maybe this is why these guys were always saying don't tell anybody. So I just went because I'd already packed my bag. So I went to Ikorodu, and then on getting to Ikorodu, we passed the night in Ikorodu. They said we were waiting for 2 other people to join us, and the next day he took us to Agbara. On getting to Agbara, it's a lady's house, and I met the owner of the house and about 3 other ladies. So he said, so this is the person that is your real travel agent. She's the one that is paying for you. She's the one that is helping you to travel to the person who sent money to her. And I said, okay. So what I told my mom when I was going to leave, I told her that I was traveling and that it was going to take me maybe like 6 or 8 months to come back. And she was like, what kind of a travel is that, and why are you staying so long? So I told her that it's a friend that is helping me out, and I really do not have to do so much just to pay for my passport. So she was even the one that even gave me like 35K out of the 50K that I gave those guys. And when I explained to her that it's a friend, and she already knows the guy, so the guy as in became very close. During one of our school parties, my mom's school party, he actually came around. He comes, like everybody now knew him. So when I mentioned his name and my mom, okay, she didn't see a reason to question, because this is someone that everybody has come to know very well. So she was like, okay. So that day I told her was the day she gave me the money. And she was like, okay, if you say that is what you want to do. But then she now asked what I was going to do about my school. So I said, already I had missed the exam for that semester, and I already had missing exams from the previous semester. So when I come back, I'll sort it out. So she was like, okay, if that is what you want. But then she wasn't really like okay with it. She kept asking questions upon questions and questions upon questions. I'm like, at least you know the person that is actually working on this for me. So if there is anything, you can always ask him. So that was the last conversation I had with my mom. And at that time, there was a very big issue in the house. Oh, I was not in good terms with my stepdad and my mom. We had issues. So for me, it was just, I'd had it to the truth and I wanted to just leave the house. So, and that was it. And I left. So my mom asked, so how are we going to be feeding this child? How are we going to be doing this? How are we going to be that? I told her not to worry, that at each point, I would always know what to do. So she didn't really bother me so much about the child because she was still little. She was just 5. At least she would be able to still feed her and do some other things. So that was how I left my daughter with my mom and left. So on getting to that house, seeing 3 other ladies and then the lady in question that owns the house, she was like, okay, so first she gave me rules that I was not comfortable with, and no talking to anybody. You're on your own here. It's just you and your destiny. Like, it's just you and your destiny here. No friendship. The only business you're here for is for you to be taken to the country where you're going to. She too, she just came back. She's going to be joining us like in a month's time and all. So she said we're moving in 3 days. So in 3 days, nothing was happening, and then I was forced to ask questions. Like, I've been here for 3 days. Nobody's going anywhere. What's happening? So she was like, we're waiting for 2 more people. I'm like, that was the same thing these guys said the last time. They're waiting for 2 more people. You're also saying the same thing. So she almost snapped out, like, I'm questioning her too much, I'm pestering and this and that, and that I should just take her word when she says we're waiting for 2 more people, or if I was the one that was going to pay the money. So I kept quiet. So that day was a day to my birthday that year, March 2nd. So I felt, okay, since I'm still around, let me just go home. So I went home, saw my mom, saw everyone, just got stuff. So my birthday, that was on my birthday, I went home, and felt like my mom was like, what happened? You've not gone? And like, we're waiting for 2 more people. And then my mom now aired out like, are you sure this thing is really genuine? And are you sure that you're not doing the wrong thing? She kept asking questions. So she asked me to call the guy that night so that she can confirm from him. So, but I called that night, his number wasn't going through. I told her that I didn't want to stay too long so that I can get back home, get back there on time. And that was how I left. So 2 days after, we were ready, and the lady asked her brother to take us to the park. So already, while the magician guy was talking to us a few days earlier, he had mentioned that we were going to go by road to an extent, and that the reason we're going by road to an extent is to avoid wahala from immigration and all of that. And to me, I was just wondering, but why are you trying to avoid these people if this is genuine? But I couldn't really ask too much questions. So he said we're going to go by road to a particular extent. So when the guy said we're going to the park, it took us to a park at Yanapaja, and then we entered Kano. So I now asked, why are we going to Kano? Then he said, that's the first place we are going to. That's where I will meet the people that will now take us to where we're going to. So at this point, we're 4 ladies and the guy. So he stayed with us at the park till the bus was full, and we moved. So right there at the park, there were 2 ladies in the same bus behind us, and I noticed they were murmuring to each other. I tried eavesdropping. At that point, my Yoruba wasn't really fluent, but I can understand little by little. So I tried eavesdropping to maybe just hear something, because I became very worried. Like, am I sure I really want to continue? I can't just go back home from here and just run away. So I started looking at a means at which I can maybe even just abscond from this guy's hand. But you know, he was seated right opposite us. So even if I come down from the bus now, he's definitely going to see me. So at a point, I acted like I wanted to go buy something. And then I noticed that he was walking behind me. And I was like, okay, so this guy is watching me, I can't run away. So at a point, I just waived the thought of running away and felt like, as far as I'm going for a good cause, let me just go and do what I got to do and come back home. So we left. Getting to Kano, I was on my phone at that point, and the lady did mention to me that when I get to Kano, she gave me a particular number. When I get to Kano, or if we are being stopped on the way, or maybe we're being arrested or hijacked on the way by any of the security officials, that we should call the particular number. So at the point where I think it was NDLEA that stopped us, and they were like, where are we going to? And to me, I just said, they said when they asked us, we should tell them we're going to Kano. And if they ask us who are we going to meet in Kano, we should mention a particular name, which was what we did. And they did let us go. So getting there, I called the number, the man did come and asked us to stay somewhere, and picked us, took us somewhere else. And I was like, okay, so what next? And then he said, he now mentioned the lady's name. She wasn't that sent us to him, right? I said yes. So he told us, enter the car. And he drove off. So we drove for like 3 hours. Getting to where we were, to me it was like, why are we here? This place is looking deserted and all. So I started looking out. I remember looking out and I saw Sabongeri while we were driving. I saw Sabongeri. And I remember that at some point I heard about Sabongeri before, and I remember it being like an outskirt of Kano or so, thereabouts. So I was like, okay, but why are we going this far? I couldn't really ask the man questions because he wasn't even going to answer. And from there, they hipped us. The place he took us to, we met some other women and men there. And they wouldn't even allow you to see anything. They were just pushing everybody in. People must not see us and all that. So they, like a hut, like it was a small hut, and there were people around. So they were trying to hide us. So at that point, I started becoming very scared, because why are you hiding us? Why are we having to rush into somewhere? You don't want people to know we are here. If they know we are here, they're going to come and take us away or something.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Happy birthday to you on this occasion of yours. Happy birthday to you. Many happy returns. Happy birthday to you.
This medal
has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of gun.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Welcome to the lounge. This is TW Conversations, where everything is on the table. And today we're talking fertility. I remember as a single girl, most of my friends were married. I remember one particular friend said to me, oh, Ebo, you know, the first pressure is, oh, when is she going to get married? And then after that is, when are the babies going to arrive? So if you're out there and you're married or single, you're going through a fertility journey, we have a team of experts here. So sit tight. It's going to be a very interesting episode.
Yes, welcome back. It's nice to be welcoming you back. When you're on the lounge, in the lounge with friends who have not done this before as a job, and they are presenting, we have to give them kudos. So I think we should just, these young ladies, let's give you a high five. For that opening, that was, that was fantastic. But and the thing also, I must give kudos to the guests that we have in the house, because we've taken them through quite a lot this evening already. But the truth is, people are wondering, what is she doing talking about fertility? This is somebody who has 6, 7 children? I've been to the labor room how many times? But I do know that there can be issues with it. And I also know that there are options. And my sisters in the house are ready to drill the guests we have. I have Dr. Aliyu in the house.
Hello.
I also have Dr. Williams in the house.
Hello.
And then, of course, my dear brother, Eni in there. I call him Eni. Don't worry, I'll write his full name for you, but he's Eni for today. Are we good with that?
Good.
Annie's in the house. Annie's in the house. Ebu is in the house. And dive straight into the conversation. Is it that people are eating the wrong food or fertility is being more reported? Let's start with Dr. Aliyu.
Yeah, it's not really that maybe people are eating wrong food or that thing. It's possible, especially as we have shifted a lot from natural to more refined foods. It's possible. But by and large, from research, you still find out that when we talk about not being able to get pregnant, which is infertility, it's still about the same percentage, which basically about 10% of the people wanting to get pregnant, they are not able to achieve pregnancy. And we define it over a period of 1 year, having sexual, unprotected intercourse, living together for about 1 year, and they are not able to achieve pregnancy. By and large, it's still about 10%.
10% is so low, but it sounds so low, isn't it?
I would have thought it would be like 40 or 50, no, maybe 40.
But 10% means 1 in 10. So, you know, that's...
But Doctor, is it, Dr. Williams, is it men or women that are more...
Right. Well, both.
Which one is more?
It used to be like 30% men to 70 of women, but right now we're seeing almost, in my practice, I'm seeing almost 50-50. And I'm now seeing that male fertility is becoming quite a problem.
Quite an issue. I wonder what are the curious things that, if it's an issue, I don't want to monopolize this conversation, ladies.
Okay, so I would share from when she was talking about pressure. I remember getting married and I told myself, I'll wait 6 months, and then from 6 months I start to try. And then I remember my husband saying, let us not wait until now turn to a prayer point. I remember him saying that, and that kind of gripped, you know, after 6 months, I just always thought I don't have a problem. I don't see why. Until when 6 months went past and then I didn't get pregnant. That month I was like, okay, what can be going on? Then friends started to tell me, you need to start realizing that you need to take things that will aid fertility. You should take the spermicide that helps the sperm swim fast. There were a list of things. And to stay at that point, I knew that it's either I had a problem or I had only God. So I understand the fear. Now, is that fear valid? Because when you start to see that 1 year is coming and then nothing's happening, when do you start to get worried?
When do you panic?
When do you start to?
Doctor said 1 year, right?
Some doctors say 3 years. Some gynecologists say 3 years.
Now, okay, let me qualify that. By and large, basically it's 1 year. But if a woman, for example, you're already 35 or at 40 and you have just gotten married, I mean, within 3 months, you can even be investigated. Why not? Because you are getting towards your reproductive end. But even in advanced countries in those years, it used to be 2 years. They allow you to wait for 2 years. But by and large, majority of the population, 1 year.
It depends on your age at the time you are worrying.
It depends on your age, exactly. It depends on your age. The more you go towards the end of your reproductive life, which is 35, 40, of course, we try to investigate much earlier. We don't wait for 1 year before we say, why are you not getting
But
pregnant?
very clearly, people know that if you've been trying and you can have something done about it, which is really what this show is about, which is one of the reasons that both of you are here and then Annie is here as well.
Correct.
And oftentimes, the first option we think about is assisted pregnancy. And when you think about it, you're thinking about IVF. True or false?
True.
But is it always, I mean, is that the only option that, I mean, I know that's not the only option, but how does the IVF work?
Can I
No, let's
add,
not-
when do you
okay.
start? When do you try
Well, when
IVF?
it's true,
Is
so
it after
is it the
1 year
first-
now? Is that the first intervention you should try?
Okay.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. What do you think?
Well, in my own practice, we actually start with the marriage preparation class. And people ask me to give a talk to the marriage preparation class. And that work is started at that time. The technology is able to allow you to identify...
What technology?
Natural procreative technology or NAPRO technology. To identify at any age the women that are likely to have problems. And so we identify it even that early. And once we've seen the signs that that particular person is likely to have problems, we immediately counsel the person appropriately. Because in natural procreative technology, which is what I specialize in, we see infertility as a symptom of an underlying disease. Yes, it's a symptom of an underlying disease. And once you've seen that, you can now try to discover what is causing that particular fertility cause.
Infertility.
Yes, well, I don't like to use the word infertility. It's not a very friendly word. So I like using the word fertility rather than infertility, because once you tell somebody she's infertile, you know, it causes quite a lot
But
of...
what does being infertile mean? It means, I mean, there are many meanings, I believe. Either you're not producing eggs or your husband is not producing sperm, or what is it?
Yeah, you're now going into a little bit of detail, which is what is causing it. There are some, just like she said, Dr. Williams said, there are some people who prefer just using subfertility rather than infertility.
What's subfertility?
Subfertility is, you are not...
English.
Never heard.
You are not at about a normal level of, there are those who, okay, I want to get pregnant. Within the next few months, they are pregnant. But yours may take about 2 years, unexplained why. You have to wait for that 1 year, 2 years, we do not know. After all, when you consider the definition, some people, if you have 100 couples, for example, some people get pregnant the first month, some the second month, some the third month, some the fifth month, some the 11th month. Why do they have to wait that long? And they are living together. We still don't know. That's why
Maybe
there
the
is
husband
that.
are always traveling, they don't have time.
It's not impossible.
You know?
Those are associated causes, just like, as I was saying, that if you really want to be able to be of use in managing infertility, if it is possible, you try and establish the cause.
Well, I'm sorry that it just seems like Annie is just listening to all of us. That what is it? No, not quite. I guess because,
No, but I'm listening. I'm
Are you
actually learning a
new
lot,
things?
yeah.
But you, for example, you know of someone who's chosen to adopt a child, even though the person didn't have infertility problems. So that's why I would like you to share the experience, because I think adoption is also an option.
Yes.
As I think so. Whether it's viable, not sure.
Well, I think it's something most parents should actually do. One, it's a good social contribution to the society if you do. But on a personal level, I think whether you have your own biological children or not, taking on a child and loving that child is actually very fulfilling.
What about the stigma that comes with it? What would it be like? You say, okay, this child is adopted and this one is not.
I wouldn't see any reason why there should be a stigma about it, because children are children and they will end up growing up to be very responsible adults and contributors to the society, so it shouldn't be.
At that point, I'll probably ask you, so an adopted child, should they be told that they're adopted and at what stage?
I think it will be something that both parents will think through and decide what time to tell the child when they're able to deal with it, because in as much as you might show the child all the love, the family unit might be completely perfect, but the society is still not very receptive of the question of adoption, and you could get the child being bullied in school, maybe because they say you're adopted and all that. So yes, it's probably for the best psychological development of the child to not make it known at that point until when the person can relate with it and deal with it.
I'm wondering about the... Sorry, Dov, were you going to ask a question?
I was going to say, beyond school, what about the family, the larger family unit, where there are maybe grandparents?
You also had an adopted child,
yes,
actually. Interesting.
I was going to go into that. What about, like the extended family, cousins, grandparents, and how do they, relate with the child? Do they accept the child? And how does their acceptance or non-acceptance affect the child's development?
Well, I will not say that it's always going to be rosy, but I think in everything, it's also the function and the responsibility of the parents to have properly, if you decide you want to do this and you go ahead to do it, then you must, in the African society, it's not only the nuclear family, it's also the extended family. So if you're deciding something internally, you must carry your extended family. I'm Igbo, and you have the traditional thing of people saying maybe this person can be an outcast or it can, and all that. So you must definitely cross that bridge with your extended family to make sure that your children, whether adopted or biological, are accepted just as you accept them as yours.
Doctors, I must say this, because there's one option that's happening again recently. There's NAPROTEC, there's IVF, there's all of those things. I don't know if you advise and I want you two of you to comment on this, advise your clients to seek adoption as an option. And also, this surrogacy thing is becoming an option too. You can have someone else
carry the baby for you.
Carry the baby, right? Should we start with you, doctor?
Okay, fine.
How popular is it?
Yeah, certainly I advise my patients, or rather I give them the option of adoption. I discuss it with them, what it entails.
And they're becoming more receptive these
days.
They're
becoming more receptive. They're becoming more, just like when you even consider IVF in the first instance. When it first came, nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants anybody to know that I went for IVF. But now it's so common that it doesn't mean anything. The same thing, the idea of adoption is gaining ground, but we are still far from reaching, I don't know his opinion, but that is what I have found in my clinic.
They won't say it, they won't do it. Okay.
They won't say it by and large. They won't say it, but they are being encouraged. Surrogacy is even more in its infancy, by my assessment, but people are talking about it. I have had patients who have even come, what about surrogacy? They've asked that question even before I could bring it up. And they've been educated, and
they are changing.
Yes.
But very slowly.
They are changing.
Your technology is a natural technology.
Yes.
But I have people say things like, oh, this is from the church, and so it's only for church people who don't want to try IVF because IVF has...
I think we should establish that the church, when you say the church, do you mean the entire body or the Catholic Church?
Yes, I think it's a Catholic church, right?
Well, the Catholic Church does not approve of IVF.
Of IVF.
Yes. And so Catholics are told that they are not allowed to do IVF if you're a practicing communicant Catholic. And an alternative technology called natural procreative technology, which these days is called the fertility-based awareness methods. That's how we are now classified in the Ministry of Health, has to be instituted. As regards adoption, because we have protocols.
Sorry, does that protect work? I'm sorry. I'm just wondering.
Well,
what does it entail?
Yes. Natural procreative technology for the treatment of infertility is twice as effective as in vitro fertilization for any particular cause of infertility. That is usually...
Isn't there a bot in it?
There's no bot. It is researched, very well researched, and you can Google it. And the effectiveness rates have been proved. Even in Nigeria, the technology was developed in the USA in 2004. We brought it here. Even in my own little practice, you know, I have my own pregnancy rates are double IVF rates. And even now...
And you were one of the IVF doctors at the beginning.
The type of people I see now are 1 failed IVF, 2 failed IVFs, 3 failed IVFs. So at my own level...
But is it that expensive?
At my own level, those are the people that are referred to me
and
now.
they get pregnant.
Yes.
Anyway, but the question is, I know there are options. I must take a break. I know there are options. This is one option, it's another. And, you know, but I would like to really delve into the surrogacy thing. But I must take a break, and then we'll return to the conversation. So look at why I'm just quiet on this one. I'm just listening to you people talk. We'll be right back. Yes, we're still in the lounge, and we have had time just listening to the doctors talk about options, and we also talked to a father who understands adoption. But now we want to remain in the studio to answer some pertinent questions. So, more interactive. Welcome back. I don't know if has been dying to ask one question.
Okay.
Clarity?
Absolutely. Clarity on this procedure. I really need to understand how it works and how it differs from IVF.
Okay, it's not a procedure. It is a whole technology. Okay. The philosophy behind the technology, as I've said before, is that if somebody cannot get pregnant, something is responsible. And the whole technology has been developed to very accurately pinpoint in each particular woman what is, or man.
Are you taking medicines?
It's a whole technology.
Okay, well.
What is the cause? In the normal method, not IVF, in normal gynecology, you'd be asked to do your hormones, the 21 hormones, ultrasound, seminal fluid analysis, and hysterosalpingography. So, but in this tech, we found that infertility goes much beyond that. And therefore, it is very, very important to accurately work at. So it goes through several stages, which we call protocols. The first stage is to actually ask the woman to monitor her own fertility.
Okay. Next stage.
Yes. After that, you now identify what it is. Immediately you know this is normal and this is not abnormal. Okay. By reading the chart that comes back to you, I can say with almost 90%, this is the problem. Okay. Next stage is now to confirm the actual diagnosis, the cause. And you do that using what we call, we don't do just one hormonal assay. We do what we call serial hormonal assays.
I think this is getting too technical.
Technical.
The question is, it works. There's an option, right?
Yes.
But what is the age bracket of women that you and men that you would?
For a woman, she must actually be in the fertile period. She must be ovulating because we use only...
What if she doesn't ovulate?
Eggs, then you make her ovulate. then we only use, only use that, that's why it's called natural. You only use the egg or the sperm of the couple.
Right.
You are not allowed to use eggs from another woman.
Oh, that's where the differentiation
And then you are not
is.
allowed to use sperm from another man.
Okay.
And so you must work with that particular couple.
I think
we get that
I
now.
need the age, that age bracket. If you
The
can
age
share
is as long as any woman is producing eggs. There is no
So a
age.
60-year-old, for example, can't do
If
this.
she is producing eggs,
Okay.
Okay.
you use the technology.
Okay. That's
All right.
Even Annie is nodding his head. No, but in surrogacy, you know, would any of us consider surrogacy? Because I read the story of Diana Ross, the musician. She was almost 70. I don't know if any of you have seen that story. But she carried her daughter's baby. Her daughter couldn't have a baby because there's something wrong with her womb or something. So she opted to be the mother that would carry the baby.
Her grandbaby.
Her grandbaby. So she birthed her grandbaby for her,
for her daughter.
What I'm not certain about is whether there are any laws and regulations in Nigeria, but I think in America
For
there are
surrogacy.
certain.
Is it happening here now?
Surrogacy is definitely happening here.
In regular practice, or they have to go and do it abroad? Are doctors doing it?
No, here locally. And well, in fairness, because of the nature of it, lawyers are involved because agreements have to be signed, you know, in terms of let this person not go and claim another child, you know, things like that. So quite a lot of groups, whether professional or agencies, are involved just to make sure that everything goes right. But it's happening here in
Yes,
Nigeria.
but I want to know, are you allowed to know? So I know someone that did surrogacy and then it was successful, but they didn't get to meet the surrogate. But another person told me that she did it in a hospital here in Lagos. And then she got to meet the surrogate. She wanted to inspect the surrogate,
to be
monitor
sure that
the
there's no
surrogate
mental
and all that.
illness
And I'm
in the
like,
family.
is that allowed?
Now, normally in my clinic, what we do is the fact that you want surrogacy, we get you to an agency, it's left for you to decide. By and large, if it concerns me, I would encourage that you do not know the surrogate. That's it. But some people will want to know. Normally, what you have just said, the characteristics of the person who is going to be the surrogate are shared with the person wanting surrogacy, so that you know the characteristic. It's not this person, it's not this characteristic, it's not that characteristic. The person who's going to carry the baby for you.
Please, how do you find these surrogates?
Well,
do we go to register if I feel like I'm very fertile? Can I go and register and get my 3 million naira? Because I hear it's as good as that.
they pay people.
Of course.
That's the issue. That's the moral
unethical,
issue. Whether you should be able to earn a profit or get paid to provide surrogacy. I think in America it's illegal to get paid to.
It's going to be, I can't contest that because I don't know about that. But I believe that, for example, let's say I'm a woman and I surrender myself, I want to become a surrogate. I don't know the person. And then my body is going to change. I'm going to experience a lot of pain, difficulties. In the delivery, it might even be a cesarean section. I end up with a surgery. And you say I shouldn't be paid. I think it should.
It's a moral issue. Dr. Williams is very quiet on this.
Well, let me just say that I have always recently looked at surrogacy as adoption of embryo. Because when he was talking about adoption, so when people come to me, you know, because of my own point of view, I say, look, if you are going for, because the type of people we see these days who are coming, you know, women who cannot,
have babies,
who are over 40, 50, 60, they don't, I tell them that, look, just go to an adoption agency and adopt. This is what I tell them. I say, why must you put yourself at risk for all these injections and surgery because you're actually adopting an embryo. That is what you are doing.
Go and adopt a live baby.
Go and adopt a live baby. This is my own way of looking at it.
Can I ask, surrogacy, when you say adopting an embryo, I was under the impression that surrogacy was that it's the couple's egg and sperm, but gestation in another
I'm glad
person.
that you are bringing that up because that's the major difference between adoption and surrogacy. By and large, I mean, to a large extent, surrogacy is the man's sperm, the wife's egg, just another woman to carry it.
That's if the problem is the woman's own. Where, for example...
In actual fact, we know that By the time they are coming for these problems, many of them are postmenopausal. That means the women do not have eggs. And the IVF people prefer to use eggs from very young women because those eggs give you better results. So in actual fact, you'll end up with the egg is not yours,
so you
and
can't
the
even tell.
sperm is not yours. And so that would be, this is the majority of the cases we have. I cannot.
Anyway, so what can we do? So these are moral issues.
Like she rightly said, that's the majority. But the patients I have seen, they are within the reproductive age bracket, coming for surrogacy for certain reasons, which I cannot disclose here. But I've seen such people. I mean,
the question I want to ask is that, what do we do? So 2 young people want to get married. How do you foresee this? Are there tests that we can do, or I'm married already? Are there tests that people can do before they marry?
I just told you that even
the council,
it is absolutely now compulsory
to
check your fertility before marriage.
Just like genotype.
Not genotype, you can know. And the important thing is that most of these cases, you can help them immediately. That is, you can, the technology we use, I just use the word, I'll change your abnormal chart into a normal chart using my medical, it's not natural methods, using medical technology that will change you from an infertile woman to a fertile woman. From an infertile male to a fertile male.
Sadly, I don't have more time on the show. I gotta go. I gotta go. But the thing is, I think we've established the fact that there are options. I don't think any woman can really say, oh, I have no child. You know, you can either do the IVF or do the Nat Protect or adopt or even surrogacy. So we should take our mindset off this idea, right, ladies? So as we go away, just one last word from everybody. If nobody remembers anything that you said here today, my gynecologist, I must say that. You know, Dr. Ali, what should they go away with today?
Please, help is available. Seek help at the correct place with the correct expertise.
Dr. Williams.
I agree with him as a co-gynecologist, and I recommend natural procreative technology because it is more effective, it is more affordable, it is more ethical.
Then we find that on Google. Annie, what would you say?
Every child is a child.
Oh,
so,
whichever way you get it, that's very, very true.
Just don't steal it.
Get help. No matter how early, if you can do it before you get married and you're able to drag the man there, fine. If you cannot, get help before.
What happens if you drag the man there and you find that he has no seminal fluid?
Yeah, because that's a true concern, and that's why I asked the question. So we need to.
Okay, so the options are surrogacy, IVF, the natural method, natural procreative technology, adoption. But the truth is, a lot of these things cost money. They're not easy. It doesn't? Okay, so that's fantastic. But I think they're also...
It's not free.
It's not free? so these things cost money. But there are payment plans available, so ask your banker. So explore that option also.
Good idea. So we must go. Thank you for watching. It's always effervescent in the lounge. We'll see you again next week. Remember, you can always continue this conversation on social media. Don't forget to use the hashtags. Thank you for watching.
Birthday to you on this occasion of yours. Happy birthday to you. Many happy returns. Happy birthday to you.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m.
on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Welcome to your favorite program, The Moment of Truth, brought to you by the Citadel Global Community Church. Our God is a God of salvation, far above all principality and power and might and dominion, that regardless of what happens in this season, you will escape. Say to your neighbor, there is no peace for the wicked. The lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's precious possession. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Moment of Truth with Pastor Tunde Bakare. Sundays, 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
The Nigerian film industry has continued to gain popularity across the continent and on the global stage. Even with its popularity and growth, it is still to be criticized on many fronts, one of which is that it is a quantity-driven industry as opposed to a quality one. Stakeholders have given certain factors for churning out substandard movies. Some have said budget restrictions, weak plots, repetitive dialogue, and the overwhelming lack of public-private partnership, not leaving out government participation. Since 2010, some positive developments have changed the nature of Nollywood. They include an influx of professional filmmakers, the rise in international festival and cinema tours, international premieres, collaborations with multinational companies, Pan-Africanism and distribution via multiplexes. In this time, a film's release on VCD, DVD began to happen later in its life, effectively disenfranchising Nollywood's traditional mass-market consumer base. The question I am interested in answering are Nollywood's filmmakers becoming more specialized in their art? And was it gentrifying? I use the word metaphorically to explore whether Nollywood increased in grandeur, appeal and acceptance amongst Nigeria's upper class. Hence, leading to fast rise in features of skit makers, brand influencers, and basically anyone with a little bit of fame. And has this become the domino effect, catapulting skit makers and brand influencers into a whole lot of fame?
Put your account number here.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes, my dear.
Thank you,
yes,
sir.
Let me send something to you.
Oh, I actually think I remember, sir.
Eh?
Opopo Tomongo.
Yeah!
Yes, sir.
You remember the conference?
Yes, I do.
You will go far.
Yes,
you will go far, my dear.
Well, the Nollywood structure has been of concern to many veterans, and one of them is Saeed Balogun.
I will appeal to the government to give us structure. And the government don't have problem. It is we movie makers. They tend to do riots in the state, carrying placard. It is the National Assembly that should give me a structure. Are they trying to make me powerless? Is it a dictatorship style of ruling? They don't know what to do. The question I ask myself at times is, that honorable that is in charge of culture and code that can give me structure, does he know anything about movies? He's just looking for where to be. He doesn't even know. It is one, we have a lot of us that can bring the revolution. About 5 or 6 of us in the assemblies, we can scream, we tell them, God damn you, you know what I'm suffering, you know what I'm going through now, so speak my language. But if you tend to put one honorable man there who was elected, who was and probably mechanical engineer or an economist or something, who doesn't even know my pain, we can't get it right. It is the structure. After the structure, yeah, the investors can now smile, because if you invest in me, put money on my table, I mean, there, you want me to put food on my table, put in billions and I'll give you back millions or thousands. Will you come back some other time? No. When the government gets it right, the investors, please, if they are coming, I always tell them, please invest in me in what I can pay back. I am the president of the Golden Movie Ambassadors of Nigeria. We believe in restructuring, repositioning, and getting everything right. An ambassador means you can represent your country everywhere. That is where professionalism comes in. A lot of people are just coming in from everywhere. We have more than 50 associations, 31 performing. What we're looking for, why can't we be one? A professionalism can come in when you have a strong structure that can guide it.
New talents are essential for growth and encourage new faces into the industry, but proper training is vital for theatre and, of course, film.
Training is critical, but we need to create a platform that gives everybody the opportunity to be trained, and then also we need to look at also some means of internship on productions, take people on and guide them, and show them how to do what you do. If we look at theatre itself, it's a massive training ground for talents that will end up even on screen. I think training is important, but then a lot of people learn on the job, which is good. But I think where we would get it right is if production houses, also attempt to train, give basic training to people that are not necessarily trained, that are venturing into the industry. You have actors, there are people that are good, they are not trained actors, but on their own, like you said, skit makers, they didn't go to anywhere, but their skits are so evolved that they have so many people looking forward to see what next they are going to do, and then you see they can hone their skills and use them, but then again, it is a factor of the industry having that capacity to train, having the infrastructure to train. A lot of these people would want to, if the opportunity is there, gain more knowledge on how to do film, how to be better actors or producers or things like that, but then we need to have that platform that gives them the opportunity. That's one. And two, production companies also should look at ways of, even at times some training do not necessarily have to be formal. They could be informal through internships and things like that. And then skit makers also, at times when they've made so much fame, they are popular, they feel they have arrived. But no, there are certain basics you still need to learn. At times you should learn also to try and hone your skills so you can be better. That you are popular now does not mean you cannot do better things, milking that popularity that you have gained now through the skits you do, which we notice a lot of people don't do. A lot of directors will just allow you to do your thing. I've heard of a set where the director just say, okay, read the line, or yeah, do your thing, but at times you should be able to tell somebody, this is what I want you to do, this is the way I want it to be. That helps with the quality. The next thing I'll look at is casting. People cast for the wrong reason. It is good to cast with the mind that this person is going to draw eyeballs or is popular, hopefully the person will help with publicity. It is good. But when you look at certain characters and you know that you need somebody to deliver top-notch performance, and then that character is unique in that way. It's not something you can just cast anybody because of the numbers. And you overlook that fact and you just put someone that cannot deliver on the character because you think the person has got numbers, then that drags the quality of the production.
It is not acceptable for popular faces to just go on and start filming without necessary kinds of training. For us in Actors Guild of Nigeria, it's something we totally abhor and we condemn. So you find that sometimes before you catch them, they are finished making the film. So we are gradually working with the censors board in Nigeria to see that some of these things are put to a stop. You must have a certain level of qualification. Even if you have graduated from school and you have not done this business before, you still need some kind of elementary approach where you will be given some ideas, instructions on what to do before joining the Nollywood industry. It's not all about I can act, I cannot act. Sometimes you see these popular people, when they come to set to act, they don't know terminologies of the industry. When you tell somebody who is acting and you say the director says cut, he doesn't know or she doesn't know what cut means, you understand? All of these things are the rudiments of the industry that they needed to go through. But because we are in a country where everything goes, people don't seem to follow rules and regulations, but we are gradually closing in on them.
With the advent of internet, social media, and instant entertainment platforms, many reality TV stars and skit makers have risen to fame. In this part of the world, becoming a top celebrity is either by hard work, persistence, or through reality shows. As we know that the road to fame is a tough one around here, a few of our top Nigerian celebrities credit their prominence to reality shows which have given them the opportunity. One of them is Seyi Awolowo, who didn't see it as a challenge for the Nollywood to cast popular faces in movies, as long as the directors have a sense of direction and vision they hope to achieve in the movie.
Well, I don't see why not. Everybody is entitled to be able to do what it is that they want to do. Only thing is when it becomes constant and if there's a regulatory body involved, if it's a constant thing where they've literally become constant film kid and they need to be registered, okay, then they can go and do that. But I believe that everybody should have, I don't see any reason why I will not put who I want to put in my own production when I want to put them in my production. I mean, I see that person to fit the role accordingly, to fit the character, Bible properly. So why not I'll bring the person on board? So I don't see anything wrong with it, as such. It just depends on who's creating movie and whose movie it is. Sometimes you want a particular kind of thing, but you're not willing to give. Give what you take or take what you give, how to speak. If you're going to be professional to the T. Follow your this thing and not along the line. I want to start using the or there's a sentiment of now help us to make it known. If you start a kind of particular kind of way, go all the way down to the end. Professionalism in the industry, I can't say varies from companies to companies or from different organizations to organizations, how professional they are, or their motto, or their modus operandum of how they want to handle things. So, that's the thing. For me now, I can just have a laid back working environment where I want everybody wearing shorts and t-shirt and being more laid back as to probably just someone that wants everybody in a tie. And so it just depends on, the modus operandi of that particular organization that is handling the production of whatever movie or, that is handling that particular production for the time being while you are working, if you get what I'm saying.
There are regulatory bodies, but do they really carry out their duties? How do they manage professionalism in the Nollywood industry?
For us, we have a constitution that we're working with, but we're trying to come up with the memorandum of understanding in the industry, whereby even if you are involved in any show or something where you have been elected as maybe highest winner and all of that, you will need to still pass through one or two trainings and then belong to a group, either as a producer or as an actor, before you are practicing in the industry. Yeah, professionalism, without being political here, every industry needs professionalism. For us in Nollywood, we are grappling with that because the Nollywood industry is the industry that started without entry point and without exit point. And it continued to grow without anybody checking it. Now it has grown beyond bounds that wherever you are coming with discipline, it becomes like it's too difficult to instill discipline among practitioners because there were no laid down rules from beginning. There were no laid down rules from beginning. There were a lot of illiterates. There were a lot of people who didn't go to school. There were a lot of people who didn't see the four walls of any school, but because they are talented, they have made it big and they are now in the industry. So it's a Herculean task at this point. So we're calling on people who have been here before in the industry to so come back and say, look, this thing is getting out of hand. We have to come back to the basis. Let's see where we structure. Every actor, every producer, every director, you must belong to where your people are. Let us begin to see places. We need professionalism so I don't just do things out of proportion.
The Nollywood industry is a growing work in progress, and the Nigerian Film Censors Board needs to enforce the parameters that positively influence the creative processes from writing a screen to post-production. Is this body efficiently empowered to ensure professionalism in Nollywood? Well, hope we find answers soon.
Prison for domestic violence.
I like rolling my strong this way. I call it strong. I call SK Popo. I call them strong because, as I said, it motivates me, it gives me energy, it makes me move. I'm addicted to tramadol, Baba Blue. Everyone knows it as well. No, codeine, Benelin with codeine. Tramadol was given to me by my father. Him too, he didn't even know what it was. My name is Tunde Smith. I'm a drug addict, and well, I'm here to tell you my story about drugs. I started taking drugs when I was 20. I was this kind of child then that I was always trapped in my house. My dad didn't always allow me to go out, and my mom didn't always allow me to go out. So when I got out to the world after I finished secondary school, and I spent 1-2 years at home out of frustration, then I started going out, meeting people, and that was when I now found out about SK. That's the street name outside. It got to a time that without it, I couldn't eat anymore. I was very, very much fatter than this, but I guess it's drugs that did this to me because I lost my appetite. I didn't know how, I didn't know how to get it first of all. It was always a friend that always bought it for me. So when he was not around, when he had to go to school, even only me around, I had to wait for a while before I could find my way to get into the Zanga zone and get the drug, you understand? So it was very, very hard for me to hold on to it, saying, okay, fine, I won't take this thing for a long period of time. But when I had the chance to take it, I took it excessively. I took it like there was no tomorrow. I took it like that was the last one that was on earth, just to make me feel good. I won't say I'm proud to say I'm a drug addict, but well, I guess I found myself here and I have to actually tell myself the truth. So yes, I am a drug addict. I steal money from my mom, I steal money from my dad. I just try my best to get a shot of it a day at least. My curiosity always got the best of me when it came to drugs. So I moved on from just taking SK to taking other ones. And it got to a point in time, I tuned into hard drugs. So I was taking all of them together. I would take tramadol, I would take Ruchi, I would take all those kind of stuff. I would take them, just know what this does and what this does. All those kind of drugs, they're very, very easy to get. All you can do is just go down to the pharmacy and just ask for it. You don't need prescriptions, you don't need anything. You just go there, you get it. Hard drugs like that, I call it hard because of what it does when you take a large amount of it, because the feeling it gives and everything like that. And it's so easy to get. It's like just to walk down the park and you get it, so easy.
Psychologists receive phone calls day and night from addicts who want to give up drugs. Every 2 calls is about one particular medicine, tramadol.
Parents shouldn't give their children medications containing the narcotics codeine or tramadol.
Tramadol was given to me by my father. Him too, he didn't even know what it was. When I don't take it, it makes me feel like the whole world is on top of me. It makes me feel like I am nothing. I'm about to go get some supplies, talking about the usual stuff, SK, tramadol, popcorn and stuff like that. It's not an easy task getting these things and actually trying to get a video of it as well, but let's just pray that I don't get caught. But I just want to show you how easy it is to get these things at no extra cost. It's quite easy. Okay, this is where I have to pass if I want to go get, if I have to go get the stuffs, It's a very, very long way. It's a railway line. It's known to everyone. Everyone knows that if you want to get drugs, this is the place to be if you're in Lagos, especially this Yaba side. You can see the environment is a place whereby it's not conducive, you know. You can see everyone. No one knows I'm doing this. So, you know, if I'm being caught over here, if anyone should just suspect that I'm doing something like this, I'm screwed already. Like, I'm literally screwed because no, the police is not going to come here on time. This place is so deep inside the location that I'm going to this stuff. Before the police gets here, I would have been dead. It's so sure about it. This place that I'm about to enter now, I want to go get tramadol. It's, as I said, it's just another shop, another pharmacy that you can just walk into and just get anything you want.
Hello. Good afternoon. Do you have tramadol? Huh? 100 milligram. Okay, let me have one then.
I'm asking for her now if I could get tramadol, and she says yes, she has it. I'm going to take 100 milligrams. That is about 5 pills. So I'm just going to wait for her and let her, you know, sell it to me. In the meantime, I'm showing you guys around the pharmacy. You know, as I said, it's all being done secretly, so no one knows I'm actually doing this. As you're seeing right here, this view that you're looking at is what we call Zanga. This, as you can see right there at the far right corner, you see that you can see some guys sitting right there. I can't go down there because I'm not meant to do this kind of thing at all. If I'm caught doing this, that's it for me right there. But as you can see over there now, you can see those guys seated right there. Those are those people that like take drugs. They're always there. This is where you can do anything you want. In fact, this place that you're looking at right here, it's not even on the Lagos State map. This place doesn't exist at all. This place is like it's meant to be a canal. There's a canal over there. That's where you see the bushes right at this corner after this house. There's a canal that passes through that side. So all this place is meant to be like a gutter, you know. But you know, you can see houses everywhere. Everyone just trying to survive. Over this place that you're looking at, the guy that you're seeing over there, that's actually the dealer. Because he sees me standing here for so long, he's like wondering what's up. Like, he wants to come and meet me, but I'm just like giving him the signals not to come yet, because I don't really want anybody to see me doing this. That's it for me. Tramadol, this is 250 milligrams of tramadol, just one pill. You have some people that take 2 sometimes when you really want to get high. Then this one is the normal one, the ones that you get like anywhere on the streets. Anywhere you go, you can just ask anyone and you get it. This is 100 milligrams. The normal dosage any normal guy that takes trams, when they start, this is what they start with, because before you get to 250, you have to like start with 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams. You can't just get up to here, you just get messed up. Rochi. This is Rochi. This one you take, this is 100 milligrams. Yeah, this is 100 milligrams, just one pill. Just one pill of this, and you're good to go. Having like the motivation to like come out and speak about this is because it wasn't easy for me as well. I had to like seek help from, you know, a doctor. When everything was going crazy for me, I had to like seek help medically, and they were the ones that gave me the motivation to like do what I'm doing here today. If there's anyone out there, that it's into drugs and feeling depressed, and you just feel that okay, fine, you want to step out, but you don't know how to. It can be hard, but it all starts by that step. It all starts by you just going out there and just seeking help. No one is going to like hunt you down. No one is going to arrest you. It's just about you just coming out and just saying this is it. Because that was the step I took.
Slick City Empire.
Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria with 351,861 hectares of land, is the authentic home of every tribe and tongue in Nigeria. The state, though small in landmass, is controversially the most populous state in the country. One of the neighborhoods in the state is Obalende, located in a Tiosa local government area. The area is strategically a historic site because before the relocation of administrative capital from Lagos to Abuja, it was the seat of power of the military head of state, the Dodon Barrack. Historically, a Royal West African Frontier Force, predominantly Hausa men, were initially camped on the land where the famous King's College is situated. Then there was a need for the use of the land, and the Oba of Lagos was said to have pressured the governor of Lagos to resettle the Hausa men and sold the land in what is now Obalende to the British colonial masters. After resettlement in the purchased land, the Royal West Africa Frontier Force men named the place Ibiti Obalewade, which translates to the place where the king drove us to. Obalende, though crowded, is famous for its nightlife and for its suya sport, with a junction popularly called Suya Junction. For ease of administration, former governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, created additional 37 local council development areas from the existing 20 local council areas. So the current Obalende is carved out under Ikoyi Obalende Local Council Development Area. Ikorodu town is another historic location in Lagos, located in the northeast area of the state along the Lagos Lagoon and shares a boundary with Ogun State. Currently, the town houses Ikorodu local government area and 5 local council development areas. Kabiru Shotobi is the king of Ikorodu, traditionally known as Ayogbunre of Ikorodu, who ascended the throne from October 24, 2015. The name Ikorodu came about from people whose ancestors descended from the Remo stock of Yoruba tribe who came to settle on a plateau and named it Ikorodu, a shortened word from Oko Odu, which literally means Odu, farm. The current metro area population of Ikorodu in 2021 is 989,000, a 5.44% increase from 2020. Trading, farming, and manufacturing are some of the things Ikorodu is known for. Ikeja is the capital of Lagos State, formerly called Akeja. It was named after a deity of the Awori people of Ota, who originally settled there. The area was invaded for slaves until the mid-19th century. Ikeja, an abbreviation meaning of Ikorodu and Ekpe joint administration, was coined by colonial administrators for ease of administration. It is the official seat of the governor of the state, where the state secretariat is also located. It is also where the domestic and international airports are located. Its population as of 2006 census is 330,196. Ikeja is home to one of West Africa's largest gadget markets, popularly known as Computer Village, and home to a shopping mall known as Ikeja City Mall, which is the biggest mall in Lagos mainland and also has a cinema. These are some interesting places that make Lagos a world-class destination.
Good afternoon, I am Mercy Popo. This is the news update. The General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG, has asked not to be drawn to the issues of politics, as this is not his calling. The GO, who was speaking at the April Thanksgiving service of the church, unquote, said, "Politics is not my calling, do not distract me," end of quote. He mentioned that he was not in any race and has never voted because politicians who are members of the church are all his children, and therefore he will not vote for anyone. He, however, advised all RCCG members to get their voters card, cast your ballot for the right choice, stay at the polling stations for the counting, and get the result for those that voted. He said God has not spoken to him about the 2023 elections, so personally he's not sure about the conduct of the elections yet.
As of now, as I'm standing before you, I still don't know whether or not there will be an election next year. Don't say that Pastor Adeboye said there will be no election next year. That's not what I said. What was it I said? Adeboye does not know yet. Put the word yet. How come you don't know? Because my father hasn't talked to me about it at all. The last time we had an election, he spoke to me about the election by June of the previous year. And this is April. So it's not late. But he hasn't told me yet. He might have told you, some of you are prophets. You are closer to him. But is there any one of you here who can raise your hand to heaven and say, without any doubt, there will be an election in 2023? If you can tell us, stand up and we will clap for a prophet. I don't know yet. Remember to put the word.
He spoke worriedly about the Kaduna train attack and asked, unquote, who is trying to isolate Kaduna? Why Kaduna? He said, according to the government, more than 80% of Nigeria's crude oil has been stolen.
It's in the news. More than 80% of the oil we are producing is being stolen. You didn't read that in the news? more than 80% of all the oil we are producing is being stolen. And nobody had denied it. It came from the government. That leads me to several questions. Number one, who is the one stealing the oil? Number two, where is the money going to? 80% of what should have been the income of a nation is going to the hand of some people. That's a lot of money, man. What do they want to do with the money? That's question number 3. Question number 4. Who are the foreign nations buying this stolen oil? Question number 5. How many of these nations of the world are your friends? So you can see the reason why I'm not thinking of 2023. Maybe that's why God has not spoken to me about that, because there is a lot to deal with now.
Open Square is a series of regional town hall meetings organized to discuss the role and the relationship between legislators and their constituencies. This year's edition was taken to the southern part of Nigeria in Enugu State for legislators and constituents to meet and forge a path forward. Plus TV News followed the conversation.
Let me come to Senator Ekunife for a minute. What role do you think the National
A panel of legislators and their representatives from the southeastern part of Nigeria was set up to discuss the role of the legislators, how often they interact with their constituents, and the challenges they face on the job.
The principal job of the legislature is the making of laws under Section 4 of the Constitution, whether at the State Assembly or the National Assembly, is to make laws, which is essentially to make law for the order and good governance of the country. And then it goes further to state which areas you need to make laws, and these are contained in Schedule 2 of the Constitution. So they're all demarcated between the federal government and state government, what called exclusive list and then concurrent list. But those are matters of detail.
Over time, there may have been misconceptions about the functions of the lawmakers. That narrative is about to change as the lawmakers shed light on their duties.
The basic misconception is that they assume that the legislator should build roads, should put borehole, should do all those things that the executive is expected to do. That is the fundamental misconception.
Lawmakers, one of your most important duties constitutionally is not just oversight. It should be, please underline again, active and result-based oversight, which means monitoring and evaluating those laws that you make to see if they are actually being put in place.
We have 3 arms of government. We have legislature, executive, and judiciary. While we make the laws, the executive, of course, implements the laws that we make, while the judiciary interprets the laws.
Oftentimes, people complain they find it difficult to have access to their representatives at the national level. The lawmakers responded to this.
For me, for ease of access, I have more than 20 staff in my zonal office. My office opens from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on daily basis. And in the National Assembly, of course, if you're expecting visitors, you write the names of the visitors and send to the gate for access to your own office in terms of inquiries or whatever information they want to get from you.
Personally, from 2015, I've written to your office. I think that was the first time I wrote to your office. I never got the response. And that was based on the coal miners issue then that I was involved with. I've written to you, I think, close to 3 times. I never got the response. And then during the NSAS campaign, when we asked people to communicate with their representative, your number, I think it has, I think 0902 or 0802 or so.
I don't have any of those such numbers. I don't have any phone number 0802 or 0902. My numbers are 070 340 33 340 33888. The other was 080 75 75 7000. I have no number whatsoever. I never had any number with 082 or 092. So after we were sending the wrong number. So I'm not sure I received any data from you. And I'm sure half of the people here are from the Middle West.
What then do you think maybe your office could be doing better with allowing access to it?
I believe I have the easiest access for anybody. If I'm in the room, my doors are open. I'm really good now, so if you come here in the afternoon, you see the number of people at my gate.
During the conversation, Senator Obinna Oba was asked if he considered projects beneficial to vulnerable people, including women, children, and people living with disabilities. He had this to say.
I came here with a magazine, which I'm going to distribute. This is my magazine, and all the projects, both the scholarship, the number of people I've given scholarships, the number of people I have assisted to employ from my course is about 100 and something. Their names and phone numbers is here. The people I have empowered, both for training, they're all here. Both the people are empowered by the use of vehicles, call it motorcycles and what have you. They're all here with their names and phone numbers.
I've called them. I've sent tests. Right up till now, I've just gotten response from Honorable Chimaroke Nnamani to all the senators and all the national rep members. None of them, just Senator Chimaroke and Toby Okechukwu, have gone as far as going to their constituency office, and some I went to their house to drop the letters. Up till now, I've not gotten the response.
Without meetings like this, the gap between legislators and their constituents would likely improve, not just in the southeastern part of Nigeria, but at all regional levels of the country.
At the end of the room there. Also in Owerri,
Fire has raised a popular plank market at Odoero in Ogbar area of Lagos. Authorities are not sure of the cause of the fire incident, which started around 3 a.m. The Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service has now extinguished the fire, but interestingly, reconstruction work has started at the site. At least 13 persons have been killed by armed bandits in an attack on different communities in Anka local government area of Zamfara State. The affected communities are Kadandabar, Rafinjiro, and Babamboye, all in Anka local government area of the state. Police spokesman in the state, Mohammed Shinwu, confirmed these separate attacks on the villages. The federal government's revised COVID-19 travel protocol for travelers arriving in Nigeria has been scheduled to take effect from Monday. This was disclosed by the chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa. The new protocol stipulated that inbound passengers to Nigeria who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 are no longer required to carry out the PCR test before boarding Nigerian flight. Also, fully vaccinated passengers arriving in Nigeria would not be required to carry out a post-arrival PCR test or the rapid antigen test upon arriving in Nigeria. However, inbound passengers who are unvaccinated or partially vaccinated for COVID-19 will still be required to take a COVID-19 PCR test 48 hours before departure and undergo a post-arrival PCR test at their own cost. Now, fear grips Nigerians as insecurity heightens across the country, and that's on our Street Views. Take a listen.
We're concerned. We've seen constant attacks here and there from Abuja, Kaduna, and even Bauchi, Maiduguri, and it's extending even beyond the northern part of Nigeria. So yes, we are concerned. We're worried. We also feel that perhaps some of these issues should have been sorted, but I mean, the reverse is the case as what we have today.
I'm very, very disappointed. I was hoping that by this present time that our state of security will be improved, but it's getting worse. So really, I am disappointed.
If you look at the whole thing, you will understand that the security in this nation is giving us a kind of a bad name in this nation For a long time now, for more than 4 years, every day when I wake up in the morning, when I look, especially if I'm going to work, I look at the things that happens on the go slow. You could see that a lot of people are being even robbed. And people are dying every day. I do not know what government is thinking about it, but to me, the insecurity is too heightened that no one is safe wherever you are.
I'm tired because we just hear about bad news every day, and you're not even safe from. You can't even enter Uber, BRT, anything. Like if you're even going out, you have to tell people where you're going to because the insecurity is just crazy right now.
The security situation in Nigeria is not pleasing at all. We need to improve on the security system in Nigeria. It is disheartening to see what is happening presently in the country. So we need an improvement.
So barbaric is nothing to write home about. We are insecurity in this country is something else. Because we need a good leader, somebody that can flush all those bandits or terrorists, just to flush them out, because the rate the people are dying is too much.
And that's the news update from our stories. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Messi Bopo. There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment on winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Menstrual cycle is a way the body of a woman releases tissues that is no longer needed in the body. Every month, the body of a woman prepares for pregnancy. The lining of the uterus gets thicker as preparation for nurturing the fertilized egg. There are 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, which is menstruation, the follicular phase, ovulation, and the luteal phase. Common menstrual problems include heavy or painful periods and premenstrual syndrome, PMS. In an interview with the family physician, Dr. Mwachukwu Chukwuemeka, he gives a deeper explanation of the menstrual cycle.
Menstrual cycle is defined as a time clock within a female or a woman of reproductive age, especially from puberty where there is a production of the eggs in your ovaries, and then the preparation of the womb to receive this egg, hoping that it will be fertilized, and then the discharge of this egg when it is not fertilized, or the growing of this fertilized egg into a baby. Okay, so now that cycle takes usually a month, and this cycle usually a month averagely, so it seems to take 28 days. However, there are variances, so we give a normal phase of plus or minus 7 days, meaning that it could span from 21 days to 35 days. So that's why it varies for women. So the menstrual cycle is the period from the release or the preparation of the eggs in the ovaries to the release of these ovaries down to the womb, and then it is discharged, and you all see it as blood.
Dr. Chukwuemeka explains why some women go through pains before or during the cycle, which makes them use hot water bottle to soothe it before they will be relieved for some time.
Painful menstruation, which can be described as dysmenorrhea, is possible because, first, during the movement of the eggs, there are lots of hormonal activities, and it has seen first to be either due to the tubes, the contractions of the tubes, especially when you're talking about before the period, especially in ovulation. So there's usually ovulation pain, which is milder than the menstrual pain itself. So the contraction of the fallopian tubes is a milking movement, milking the eggs through the tubes into the ovary. Okay, and then when it gets into the ovary, it stays for approximately 24 hours and then begins to degenerate. Before then, the womb is preparing a space, a bed for this egg to be implanted if it's fertilized. But while it's doing that, it's not implanted. And so that brings me to the stages of the menstrual cycle. So there is the proliferative stage, which is the stage at which there's production of many things. And then there's a secretory phase, which is the phase where the egg is expecting to, to be fertilized, and then also expecting to either become a baby or it is discarded. All right. So when that happens and this egg is not fertilized, the uterus begins to contract in order to expel it. That contraction is usually painful. Imagine your fist very tight, okay, especially for a woman who hasn't given birth before. That's how tight her uterus is, very small and tight, compact. Now within that fist is a slit, a tiny slit that allows for this egg. Now when this fist is going to contract on itself, the pain will be heavy compared to a woman who has given birth before. So there's a lot of space, and contractions, is a little milder. So that's why the painful menstruation gets better with childbirth. Okay, however, that is the typical case. There are atypical cases where the painful feeling increases even with age and childbirth. All right, but majority of the times it gets better in childbirth. So whether the use of the hot bottled waters or the use of drugs, the idea is that you're trying to reduce the level of tension this uterus go through to milk out all the blood, all the mucous layers that it has produced.
Doctors advise women to keep the calendar dates to help monitor their menstrual period to ensure balance. However, they are advised to see their physicians when there is an imbalance in the calculation of their menstrual cycle.
For imbalances in times of menstrual flow for many women, it's in the normal context. I said that the normal is 28 days plus or minus 7. Now what that means is that you have a range from 21 days to 35 days, but ideally there shouldn't be an excessive gap between the days. So when someone says I have a 28-day cycle, what that means is it shouldn't exceed some days from that 28 days. When they cannot calculate it, there is an underlying pathology. There's a problem. There are few problems that have been identified or itemized. One of them is when people have pelvic inflammatory disease, things what we call the what you call the urinary tract infection or the toilet infection. What happens is that those infections they alter the flow between 1 month and the next month. So when women are not able to calculate, they may need to see their physician to identify what exactly is causing the disparity, the long-term disparity. But if there are a few days, then you shouldn't say you don't know. If they're probably 2 or 3 days apart, then it's still within the range. Okay, but when they are like 1 week apart, 5-7 days apart, then there's an underlying condition. Or when it comes too early, there's an underlying condition.
Overaged pain in some women during the menstrual cycle needs to be investigated, and if there is no problem, then it could be a change in their system.
Many women feel unbearable menstrual pain at their older ages, which is very atypical from the normal. So the response to such is that they need to be investigated properly. They need to. It's very atypical, and if they're investigated and there is no reason, then they may be let low like that or have some hormonal replacements done for them. But if they're investigated, there are certain things that can be the cause. One of them is, like I said, could be a fibroid. Another could be what we call the endometriosis. Okay, endometriosis is the presence of tissues, uterine tissues in another part of the stomach. So whenever the stomach is beginning to experience that firing impulse, that tissue, wherever it is, it could be in the womb, it could be in the stomach generally, it could be on the broad ligament, that tissue also fires, and then they feel the peppery sensation at that point. Okay, it could even still be a PID, pelvic inflammatory disease. Now, this condition happening at older age is very possible, but must be investigated and properly treated. However, if investigated and nothing is found, then it can be classified as an atypical situation. And more often than not, hormonal play.
Medication during the menstrual cycle must be recommended.
First of all, it's not very ideal to openly, prescribe, and then because what you do is that you validate certain things in the public. People should really be investigated. People should see their doctors, and then he knows what. But yeah, the use of Felvin has been made public already. It could be right and could be acceptable. However, it comes with a side effect, which is intensifying stomach pain in ulcer patients. So it simply means that an ulcer patient cannot use Felvin, or it can cause ulcer because it's an NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, which means that it can potentiate the possibility for an ulcer. That also means that if a patient has ulcer, it's contraindicated. If a patient can have ulcer, it's contraindicated as well. Now, there are many analgesics that are available, simple analgesics ranging from paracetamol. All right. The problem is that many times we want the very hard one, ranging from paracetamols to some of the codeines, sometimes depending on how heavy the pain is. More importantly is the use of relaxants. So there are smooth muscle relaxants, some of which we call hyoscine, that we popularly know as Buscopan. These can be used as well to relax it. But beyond that, there are many other treatment plans for painful menstruation. So these simple things can be used as well.
Statistically, painful menstruation can be experienced in about 45% to 70% of women. From puberty to before conception, it can be seen in about 60% of women in that age group. Then, as they get older, it reduces. In the world population, menstrual pain is experienced in over 5,000 women to about 1.5 million in different locations. It is more prevalent in Africans than the Caucasians.
birthday to you. On this occasion of yours, happy birthday to you. Many happy returns. Happy birthday to you.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in